I'm Marty Grasse. Welcome to the AI Branding Podcast, where we talk everything AI, marketing, branding, and content creation. Today, I have a very special guest, one of our partners, Simon Axel, and we're going to be talking about kind of the business perception of AI currently in America compared to what's happening over in Europe. I think globally, we are all kind of adopting AI tools, but a lot of it is kind of misconstrued or misused. And there are a lot of, shysters out there trying to, convince people that AI could do things that it can't. And maybe they don't even understand. So you can't blame them entirely. But what we're going to do today is kind of, just talk about the issues and figure out some of the steps we could take as business developers and marketers to help people understand and actually use AI for, good and to help improve things rather than just make more junk. So welcome, Axel.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Over in Europe, I know you have more restrictions. When I was back doing my website development business, I always looked at Europe as like, GDPR. It's not a bad thing because we don't have that over here in America, and you can see what happens with unrestrained, marketing freedom, we'll call it. But what's your kind of perception of the differences between Europe and America?
The thing is, we're usually just we're worrying. We're not thinking about the chances, options, possibilities coming with new technology. First of all, we think, hey, what's coming up as a negative attitude?
Ooh.
We search for the 5% that might endanger our business instead of watching the 95% helping us. So it's the GDP and other things are frequently used up to say, hey, no, we can't do that. Think about the data. To be honest, we're talking about processes. We're talking about self-awareness. We think about markets. We try to think about Web3. We think about social selling, getting the power back into our own businesses, sometimes even moving away from agencies. But that's a task. It's a job. It needs to be done. We tend to talk about it for eons instead of doing it. And I think that's one of the really big problems we have all over Europe, that we love to discuss things instead of doing them.
Wow, that's the fun part of management, right? Like, let's do more meetings, and that's the bane of my existence. Where I'm like, oh my gosh, could we just stop talking and start doing things? But what I've seen here in America, it's actually pretty similar, where you do have a lot of pushback, you have a lot of fear, against it. But when it comes down to it, you're right. It's mainly processes, and I think a lot of companies are overly reliant on a few capable employees, and then those people are essentially carrying the whole company forward. Everybody else is kind of doing busy work because there's no real process for anything. But the company usually realizes that, oh no, it turns out they were important after they're gone, and they realize, oh, okay, we don't have a process, we don't really have anything, no system put together, and now we're going to have to figure it out. So is it kind of similar over there, where it's kind of like you have some good
It's
eggs and that's
sometimes
it?
even worse because the departments inside a company, or let's say the structures. I'm not working with startups, I'm working with established companies, small to mid-sized business up to 150, 200 employees, usually max averaging annual revenue about 50, $60 million, not more. But even in this kind of, let's say, reproducible sizes of structures, the communication between sales, service, and management are not existing. And the worst thing, what I realized that sometimes now, because they hustle really to get themselves a more kind of modern facade, more modern approach, they hire people to represent them to the outside view, that haven't got the slightest idea about the company spirit, their goals, their ideas, background, history, nothing. They're producing just clutter, like we have AI-assisted, maximized volume content without any kind of heart nor brain. That's the
Oh,
way I usually put it.
well, and and that's why I made the branding academy, right? It's it's kind of funny because
Yeah.
the only reason I did, because I was never, developed a lot of brands, but I never really thought as brand as being I don't know, kind of core aspect of how a business runs. I always thought, oh yeah, it's kind of the representation of how the business runs. But now I look at it, I'm like, no, it's literally everything. And the only reason we haven't made it such a central part of what we do as marketers and as business owners is because we didn't have the tool for it. You either, and I talk about this in my book where I'm like, okay, the two ways to have like a really solid brand were to one, have a ton of money and just plow money into the branding aspect so that you can make everything consistent. Or two, you have a crazy person at the top who literally won't let anybody go off brand because they're neurotic and control freaks. But now we have AI, and I call it the third path, where I'm like, okay, what if we just set everything in to an AI? We defined all our parameters of what the brand is in terms of, not just the visual and the written aspects, but also the interactive community and experiential aspects of the business. And then now you just ask AI what to do, and it'll tell you, based on those parameters, what to do.
Okay, we just hit the first anniversary of the AI Branding Academy. And actually, I, yes, brought many people to the point to actually face the idea of brand pyramids, pillars, and really thinking about the basics. And what I learned, and that's really frightening for me, they don't see it anymore.
Mm.
It's like individualized, yeah, components within the company that nobody really likes to bring together because it might be too energetic for them. They like to administer everything till the let's say they're perfectly in controlling. But if when we're talking about future, it's rubbish. I deal with the company leadership crew. I'm a part of it, and we just wrote a book, and we're trying to tell people if you are the owner or a chief executive officer of a company, you should at least have 80% of your time available for process, future, planning, talking to your employees, talking to clients. Actually, the reality is usually the people have 95% at the desk and 5 to think about what they lost.
Mm.
There's nothing left for planning, talking, perspective. And that's something that I like about the idea working with the basics from the AI Academy, that we can really get into the material, present them a kind of provocal situation where we can even run into discussions. And actually, I use Notebook LM for that to produce some podcasts and transfer the bad news in a good podcast by roasting the company and its approach to marketing and bring that in. It hurts people. It usually takes 2 weeks for them to answer, but it really hit the mark because usually in the end they come up and ask, what's going on? What can we do? How does the system really came up to this conclusion? And so the system is your public picture you produced. Everything that was produced about you, officially, unofficially, social media, on your website, within any kind of other medias and blogs, I just collected this idea, ran it through different GPTs or LLMs, usually starting with ChatGPT, running into Perplexity to get the backup, then running it into Claude to have it nicely, let's say, yeah, written as a kind of positive thing, and run it through Notebook LM to see what's going on. And the result is breathtaking.
Oh.
Most negatively breathtaking, because I have seen chief executive officers on the position for more than 25 years almost crying.
Huh.
Because I said, no, that's not the company I intended to start, to work with, nor to bring it to the market, nor to give it to the next generation. What has been going on?
Yeah, well, it's been distraction most of the time. Well, and I talk about this all the time where I'm like it wasn't preventable because as a business owner, you're getting started, you have to delegate tasks, you have to delegate responsibilities, and but we just didn't have the ability to manage those things very well. It was basically like, okay, let me try to get the right person for this, try to get the right contractor or agency, and hopefully they do a good job because I don't have time or maybe the skill set to even understand what they're doing. So this is just the way it has to happen. And then, but like you're saying, a CEO like realizes like, here's the thing I built and it's this horrific structure. And they're like,
Well, Mark,
oh my gosh.
Mark, to be honest, we can sit there, produce content like hell, and nothing will change. But if actually the owner or founder of a company stands up there yeah, telling his story, talking about some interesting stuff in his career and history, it is always welcomed. It is always binding. It's always building up trust and belief. What we're selling in the end, we are selling good feelings and solutions.
Yes.
For that, we need trust and belief in the company dealing with it. The time of shiny objects, especially in a period of easy return policies, is over. If we
Hmm.
want to keep our clients, or like I keep my clients partly since 1993, and that will be the future of the market again, bind the clients as brand ambassadors to your company, to your brand. You need to do something. You need to be present, available. You need to be trusted, and you need to be a human being and not something coming out of the crypt, producing a nice content, shiny atmos, yeah, like a good comic strip. Uh, as we do it with the AI Branding Academy, there's a fun part behind it. But at the same moment, we're really doing business outside, selling something, especially services, consultancies, or high value tickets. We need people. We
Yes.
can assist these people by using AI to give them the right verbing, the right attitudes when they come up with their own material, especially when we set it up as videos or podcasts. But it must be done by humans.
Yes. Well,
AI can't do anything.
no, well, it's funny because I do think AI has the ability to take that human input and then make it very consistent across all the platforms. So I want to make sure that listeners know that like AI can help you produce that content, but the
Helping,
I,
yes, but it cannot replace you.
ideas. It cannot
Yeah.
replace you. No,
Yeah.
and it's that important aspect of what we do, or actually what AI does and what we do, where AI is freeing us up to do the stuff we should be doing. And this is where, I talk about robot work versus human work all the time, and we've been doing mainly robot work. Like that's
Yeah.
what people have been doing, and we're not good at it. We're very inconsistent, and we get bored, and then it goes terribly. Then what ends up happening too with humans doing robot work is we insert our ego into it too, where it's like, hey, this isn't just about me performing for a company and helping them get whatever objective they want. It's about my need for validation and my need to feel important and my need to feel that my purpose is being executed because I did this task for this company. It's like, none of that. No, don't install that there. Like that's not where
Mhm.
that belongs. And honestly, when you have a company, it's not your company, or when you're working for a company, it's not your company. You're trying to execute somebody else's vision. And I think that all of that information just gets mixed in, and then people don't, then people make their life about their job rather than just executing a task that somebody else needs done.
Actually, that's a point where Germans are nice to be dealt with
Huh?
because I usually come up with a certain persona structure. I don't like have people or my clients to work from scratch
Mm.
because it's easier for you to change something than to create something. So I usually take all the material I can get and use some of the stuff we set up in the academy or my own stuff and produce personas that might be visible within the company structure.
Mm.
Then I discuss that with my clients. Then we build really a stronghold persona that can be representative for the company. Usually, actually, it's the owner, it's the actual founder or whatever. But it's nice because everybody refers to it as I've been a part of it.
Ugh.
I joined it. It's part of my it's kind of my child. So
Yeah.
they start really pumping that material into the AI, and the results coming out of that are a huge difference from that stuff the controller drove in there, uh, completely without any kind of emotions, not solving problems, just selling something or putting out stupid stories nobody's really interested in. But actually, with this idea that we build up a persona, that we make this company as a kind of human, it's even something you can put on a podcast, on a roast, and it's fun and it's working out.
Oh, I
And
love that.
yeah,
Well,
it's
and
really
what
helpful.
Well, what you're describing too is really where I see everything going in the future, where it's basically the company itself, like what it is and what it does and all these things is a database of information that is then accessed by an AI, and then now the AI knows everything and can help the company execute whatever you want. But without that data input, and I think this is the big confusion when it comes to AI, like, oh, I tried to use AI and it didn't do the stuff I wanted. It's like, well, it doesn't know anything. It's just giving you
Yeah.
the average answer of what it does know. So you have to feed it the information. And if you don't have the information, the processes, like you mentioned, and the motivations of the owner, then it's just going to give you slop, you know?
To be honest with that, we're really doing the step to Web 3, getting away from Web 2. And now we're setting up our own social systems, our communities, our, let's say, client surroundings, safe havens. And we're dealing with data we generate, we keep the data. We actually get back into the situation that we can deal with them. We can even validate and verify them with the clients themselves. What I highly like, because sometimes I call some of the clients of my clients stupid, and ask them, we've got a picture here about you or of you in our data. How would you relate to that? You order huge, you always have big tickets, and we always have got problems with actually settling the account. Then we have got accounts aging coming in with that. Where's the problem? There's a problem on our side that we miscommunicate. Should we plan better with you? Should we keep more in touch with you prior to an order in a planning phase? And it's pretty interesting because usually they say, nobody ever asked us.
Huh.
And that's fun. You see, this kind of estimate, I think we are or I'm from the boomer generation of estimates. We estimate the profiles of our clients, the behavioral pattern of our clients, the trade procedures of our clients. We even think that it might be this or that way instead of simply opening our mouths and asking.
Oh, yeah.
And
And
this kind of A/B testing in the old-fashioned way by simply calling people, what's the problem? It's absolutely out of fashion.
Ready to align AI with how you already lead? Start free with the 28-day AI challenge for managers, your first step to discovering what AI can really do for your business. In 28 days, turn your management principles into AI-powered workflows, planning, feedback loops, accountability, measurable outcomes. Practical, ethical, repeatable. Learn more at aibranding.academy/challenges.
No, that's a great way to put it because I think it's well, I think there are different types of agencies. The one that goes in there and like, okay, you're a bunch of idiots. Here's what we're going to tell you to do, and then you have the other side where it's like, what do you want to do? And I think that was one big misstep when I set up my agency where I was like, okay, I'm just going to go in, assume that the client knows what they want and need, and then I'm going to deliver that, and that's not the case 90% of the time. But it's also not the other way where it's like, hey, I can just go in and install anything I want and it's going to work for your business. It has to be a communication between the two aspects. But I do think there's a tendency for both sides to assume that the marketing function is something that can be understood by your average person. And just like it's like, yeah, and I always compare us to, marketers to accountants and lawyers and other professions like that. We don't have that same, luxury that they have of saying, hey, I'm coming in as the accountant. I know more than you about finances and accounting, so you're going to listen to me. Instead, when marketers go in, it's marketing. I get it. I've seen TV and I see billboards and now I understand marketing. And so there you go. So I think a lot of times it's just a lack of respect on say the business owner side with the marketer, but a lot of marketers just haven't done a good job of convincing
Yeah,
them.
but the thing is, and that's something that I learned at your time of DM quite a while ago, that actually there is no such thing as a marketer.
Mm.
Some come out of creation, some are coming out of, let's say, good copywriting, others from photography, others from simply plain communication, some from psychology. And there is never something, or has never been something like the marketer.
Mm.
And that's pretty interesting because even when you talk to some university folks here around when they talk about marketing, I always ask them, what is a typical marketer? Give me something like, kind of elevator pitch about a marketer. Yeah, it's a person selling. I said, no, it's not a person selling. It's a salesperson. and it's actually fun because most of the as you said 7 times within the last 3 minutes, we assume much too much. We don't check. We have to get back into the old situation that if we assume something, we have to ask for it. Did I get it right? We're not doing that in meetings anymore. We think that everybody understands everybody fluently without a problem, and we don't.
Oh.
We have really established a communication or an art of communication to say a lot without meaning and not meeting our words, really actually checking what should be the essence of it. And it's fun for me because, I'm pretty senior. I'm born in 1963. I should really be more on the pensioner side, but I'm pretty creepy on that because I always ask, did I get you right when? Did you really mean this or that? Ever thought about the idea how this idea or this kind of wording would be received by a client? Does it solve a problem or does it produce a problem? The problem of understanding. What does a client does usually to solve his problem? What are we doing better? Or are you doing better? Are we just putting down figures? I've been in the hardware business for many years. Hey, it was absolutely not interesting if a hard disk drive turns with 6.5 or 7,500 RPMs. It was simply bogus. The people were interested in how long does it take until this thing booted and I can work. Was it working perfectly or do I have to reboot 3 times a day? That's one of the things that are interesting. Where is the problem? Where can I produce solutions? And in this case, if fed correctly, AI is beautiful because it can change our perspective. It can be the client. It can play the client. We can move it into the position of our client and say, hey, what is your problem? What is the second level problem, like symptoms? If you're suffering from bad leadership in a company, what does it do to you? Can you not sleep through anymore? Problems with digestion, high blood pressure, not willing to talk to your family anymore because you're fed up when you come home. These are the things we should sell. And this is the stuff where AI is a perfect tool to bring us back into the situation. We are the remedy for the problems of our clients. And that makes us valuable for a long, long time, not as a kind of shoot and run situation.
I love that. Well, and that's really what we're trying to do. Because I mean, with me, with the academy, I'm trying to establish that the short-term relationships that we've been having with companies are detrimental to both parties, because they're very return dependent. Where it's like, hey, I gave you 3 months and it didn't go anywhere, so you're fired. Let me go ahead and restart this process with the next person. And then, hey, you got 3 months. Oh, it didn't work. You're fired. And then it's just this cycle keeps on repeating with no progress actually being made. And I think it all goes down to what you're talking about, which is that communication barrier where it's, and the problem is that, and I blame corporate culture for a lot of this, where it's like you can never seem incompetent, right? Because if you seem incompetent, then okay, well, you're an idiot. Versus, well, what it's led to is nobody has an understanding of anything because you have to say, oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah, that totally makes sense. We're all on the same page. Don't look at me, even though I didn't actually say anything or solve any problems because I agree with you. And so it's led to nothing good. And now everybody's just scared and dumb.
I think that's a beautiful picture in the American awareness of marketing. When you think about this top-selling real estate agents, they all look the same. It's looked like they went to the same clinic to get their faces built. They all look alike. They all talk alike. They behave alike. It doesn't even matter if they're male or female. They all look the same.
Yeah.
And we have to absolutely get away from that. The beauty lies in the detail. We were talking about that a year ago, how to focus on a market and if I'm really focusing on a market, it might not be huge. But when we think about the US or Germany, we talk about millions. And if we address some thousands of it, we are done till the rest of our life anyway. So we don't have to be this kind of open thing grabbing everybody. No. I know that I polarize a lot. Many people absolutely don't like me because I'm not willing to set up a stage for them. There's no catwalk up there. If we deal with clients, you have to be strong, honest, straight, because the people like to deal with you. And if you want to keep them and really get high price tickets out there, you must be yourself, not a reproduction of somebody else. I could never be you. I don't want to have your hay fever.
I don't
No,
blame you for that.
no, but really, to be honest, the thing is, we're getting with our personal pictures out there pretty washy. And AI is a wonderful thing, like really to resculpture our market appearance again. Bring it to a precise picture, find the standard, as you said, really bring it into a line that is consistent. And we can do that. And we can do that now for cheap.
Yes. Well, and the cooler part about what's happening right now is because we always talk about niching down, right? Where you're like, okay, well, if you could just focus, then you could get everything you want immediately. You don't have to wait for a million people to get on board. There's a group of a dozen people that really, really need what you're doing. And if you could just connect with those people, you're going to be set. You will get the business going. You can always add in a different, additional industries and customer avatars as you grow. But if you can't establish yourself with even one single group, you're never even going to get started. And that's a huge mistake with small businesses, where I see it even worse than, say, bigger businesses. Bigger businesses know who their customer is. Smaller businesses are like, oh, I can't define my customer because I have to go after everybody. And then they basically don't go after anybody, is what ends up happening because they're so general.
Yes, you're right, you're wrong, both sides. A different problem I see in there is that many of our competitors, or let's say people on the market, are not willing anymore to really think about referrals and client relationship. They're just looking on the revenue. Okay, we've got performance branding. We need that. Marketing. We need that to get some stuff off. We need coupons. We need rebates. We need sales. Of course. But we need branding. And branding for me is simply be there, getting referrals. I haven't advertised within the last 18 years.
Wow.
Nowhere. No cold leads. I get referral business. I'm still in there. I started in 1993 with my first business in the IT business and touristy business, hospitality branch. Nothing ever changed. I never advertised. And I highly recommend, if you do advertising, it's for market testing. But if you really want to get clients, ask your clients for referrals. Get the assistance. They tell the other, hey, he's crap. Never argue with him. Don't try to really talk about bargains with him. Okay, beautiful. The same when people really getting out there, I always recommend, do me a favor, put your price tag on there. Because without the price tag, you start negotiating about your price and you're not willing to negotiate about the price. It's lost time. So put your average in there and you're welcome. If somebody does not like your price, let them go.
Yeah, well, they just eliminated themselves. Why should you,
Yeah.
use a bunch of time talking to somebody who will just eliminate you based on how much it costs? Like that's something you could solve immediately. I think there's always this temptation that you should be a good enough salesperson to sell somebody who's not capable of buying it.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, then you're just not a good salesperson. You're not trying hard enough.
Unless you're actually a bank or other service that's putting out some money in there. No, but the basic thing is, and that's something that I really loved about our cooperation over the last year or the years before, is always we keep the focus on people. We're not focusing on processes. We're not focusing on shiny object. We're all thinking about, okay, how can we humanize avatars, personas? How can we humanize processes? How can we find a voice that is matching? That's always something extremely human, extremely, let's say, sometimes emotion and psychology driven.
Hmm.
And I like the psychological aspect of selling. I want to have the people that like my idea of solving their problems. Otherwise, I have one.
Oh yeah.
Theirs.
Or you're just creating new ones all the time, which is
Yeah.
what a lot of people do. Well, I think this is a great insight into kind of what's going on, and it's funny because we're talking about Web3 and we're talking about AI and this kind of like future business, but all the aspects are the same as they've been for the last 100 years.
And
There's new
longer.
technology, but I think we're getting back to how things used to be, where it's like it's not about who has the best funnel. It's about who actually has the best product or the best service, the best customer care, who's innovating all the time and not just, giving you crappy products so you have to repurchase the product again because it wore out, but who's giving you, the better products all the time with better features. And I think we've really gone away from that for the last 10, 20 years. And now we're just surrounded by crummy everything. It's kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
how do we
So
fix
it's
this?
nice to be one of those fires in the sky, telling everybody, here I am, your lighthouse. Just turn around. We can make it easy and smooth. No stress, no hyper behind it, no superlatives and other things. We just keep it easy. You want
Yes.
it, you tell me how you want to pay for it, and we get the problem solved. Easy.
Yep. No,
And the
that's
people
what
like it.
they do, and they come back and they refer and they buy new products and But it's funny because I think once you're able to establish yourself as like, here's what my business is, people will go out of their way to do referrals. Like it's not just like, oh, I'll give a referral if if I run into somebody, but they'll actually say like, no, I'm having a great experience with Axel,
Mhm.
and I'm just going to talk about it because I'm so thankful that this went so well. And that's, I think that's the ideal business. And it's how we've done
But
it for thousands of years,
we
most
did it
likely.
for eons of times, and sometimes you can even push it a bit and tell the people, the first contract coming up out of your recommendation, 10% is yours. It'll be a fun and honor to reward you on that. It always was like that. It's not bribing, it's helping each other in the most positive way. And if somebody else does a sales story you're not willing to write, why not?
Yeah.
We just set up a new website and it took us half a year to get everything out of the way that was unnecessary. We sent so many people on that page telling us, what did you find that what you don't need? So it was reduced from, let's say, five feet of scrolling to one or
Wow.
1.5. The rest is rubbish. It's gone.
Oh, well, yeah, and I could talk about that all day too. Why websites became that was because of, the SEO, and you have to have this many words, and it wasn't about effective communication. It was about how do I fit myself into the box that Google or Yahoo or whatever for the last 20 years has told us to do, instead of what does my customer actually need and how do I connect with them better? This has been a great conversation, Axel. I think the fact of the matter is that the new technology is coming. It is mixing stuff up quite a bit, and I think it's a good thing.
It is,
What's your
absolutely. And even if you talk to the LLMs in a polite way, because they might achieve something like consciousness over the next years, do so. Because if you talk to other people, including your clients, you try to be polite too. You will
yeah.
never, you never buy from an asshole or sell to an asshole. So why
Yeah.
behave like one?
Not just that, but
Right.
AI is learning when you're talking to it. And so if you're rude and curt and you cut everything off and you're unappreciative, then it's just going to reflect those aspects back at you. So have
And
fun.
actually, it trains us again in communication, in polite communication.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it too. Yeah.
Because we sometimes lose it by all this kind of messaging. Uh, and some people really get nervous when they have to call me on the phone. Yeah, I usually just text you. I said, no, give me a call. I don't want to
Oh,
spend half a day texting with you for something that we can solve on the phone in 5 minutes. Give me a call, or we can even have a Zoom, but don't text me.
oof. I love that. Well, and there's so much, that could be misconstrued when you're texting, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I use OMG all the time, but somebody you talk to might be like, oh, I'm super offended by that because my, you know,
For
teenager or
example, put
whatever.
it something just to close it down. WTF, you know what that means in English.
Yeah.
For here, it's for example, it's actually the development of touristing board. So it's a totally different
Yeah.
meaning, and they're always faced with the English expression. It's not fun for them, but we tend to really misunderstand each other frequently. So, and AI can help us in solving that problem. Getting back on talking to each other on the phone helps too. When you set up a meeting, leave out the chairs, do everything standing with our beverages. We can bring it down to 15 minutes too.
Oh, no, that's wow. I'll have you back on the show for that. Just efficiencies and probably global communication too, because I do think that there's, and I've been talking about this for a couple of years once HeyGen came out with their awesome translation tool. And I was like, man, pretty soon, like this is probably going to be live. Like you could translate live to three people speaking three different languages on Zoom, and all of us see the message of what they're trying to say translated and then like they're speaking the language that they're
Yeah.
understanding. So that's that's something we're gonna have to get used to again, but it's gonna be great because it opens up your market from say 350 million here in America to 8 billion, and any fraction of that is going to
Don't
be
want to
awesome
make
as well.
yourself smaller than you are. You are 489
There
million
you
inhabitants in the
go.
United States of America.
No, they still
You know, I'm
report that
German.
like
I
it's
have to correct you on that one.
no. Well, our consensus numbers are not super accurate, as you can imagine, though we're fixing things. Well, thank you so much, Axel. Really appreciate your time. Where can people learn more about you and your agency?
Actually, you'll find me on LinkedIn under axel.simon.neg. Many find me, yeah, around the AI Branding Academy. Just give the site a visit, check it out. You will find me, some colleagues, and even Mark on there.
Yeah, too much, Mark, is what I see. Well, thank you so much, Axel. I really appreciate you being a partner, helping spreading the word about this. I think very much better situation for businesses in the future thanks to AI, and translating materials too, which we really appreciate because I know a lot more people are getting access
Thanks for
to it
having
because
me.
of
I
that.
really enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.
Sounds good. All right. This has been the AI Branding Podcast, where we talk everything AI, content, marketing, and branding. For more content like this, please subscribe.